Hey everyone, in today's video, I want to share 4 of my favorite read alouds for teaching students all about collaboration and teamwork. Last week I filmed a video, it looks like this right here, where I provided 5 easy tips to promote student collaboration in the classroom, especially after the last couple years of distance learning and things looking a little bit different in the classroom. Our students might need a little extra help in the collaboration and teamwork department. So in that video, I shared a few tips. And one of them is to explicitly teach what you want collaboration and teamwork to look like in your classroom. And there's a bunch of different ways you can do that, but one of my favorite ways is to use a read aloud to kind of kick off a discussion. And that's what today's video is all about. I have 4 favorites and I will share a little bit about each book and why I like it for teaching this skill. So if you're ready to hear what these books are, give this video a like, subscribe to my channel, and let's get started. Book I want to share with you is this one right here. It is called A Little Spot of Teamwork, a story about collaboration and leadership. And I love all the little spot books. There are a bunch of them. There's a bunch for different feelings. So a little spot of anger, anxiety, sadness, happiness. And then there's also other skills like this one right here about teamwork, responsibility, there's kindness, organization. But what I love about these books is that they are explicit in nature. So a lot of the read alouds we like to use, they tell a story, and then we kind of have to gauge the theme of like collaboration and teamwork, which is great. And the other 3 I'm going to share are like that. But this book right here is a very kid-friendly way of explicitly teaching what is teamwork, what does that look like, what does it sound like, how do you experience that in your classroom and other environments. So I love the little spot books. All of the books I will have linked down below in the description, by the way, in case you want to check any of them out. But if your local library, or even if your school library doesn't have these, I would put a little recommendation in to get some of the little spot books. They are great for tons of social emotional learning topics. So in this book, the topic of course is teamwork and collaboration. So the little dot explains, what a team is, 2 or more individuals working together towards a common goal. It explains how there's really teamwork and collaboration in many different places, like your local community centers, schools, libraries, when adults go to work, things like that. And it also explains that there are 7 simple rules to making teamwork work, to making collaboration effective. Number 1 is to agree on a common goal. 2 is to do your part, listen to others, encourage others, share your thoughts, problem solve, and respectfully disagree. It also goes into how there's usually a leader and there are teammates, and that on every team, when you work together in a group, there's going to probably be some conflict. And that is a really important thing to kind of bring up. And it talks through some of the things you can do to respectfully disagree with someone and hopefully come up with a compromise. I also love this book because it shows about different team building at home and the way you work together with your family or the people you live with. And then of course it goes into team building at school and how your classroom is a team building community. Also at the end of the book, there is a fun team building activity where students can pass around papers if they work in a little group together. And at the end, they can see how good their artwork is when they all collaborate instead of just being on their own. I like this book for many different reasons, but one of the main reasons is it touches on a lot of different aspects of collaboration and teamwork. And it also gives different examples because when people usually think of a team, many kids will of course think of like a sports team, but it really points out how at work, at school, at home, you all work together and points out the many benefits of doing so. Book number 2 that I love for collaboration is called That Fruit Is Mine. Now, this is a cute little book about 5 elephants that live in a jungle, and all the elephants love to eat this different fruit. And then one day they see this really tall tree with the most delicious looking exotic fruit that the elephants had ever seen. And they all wanted to try it. So one by one, each elephant kind of yells, "Mine!" And they try to find a way to get that fruit, but they can't reach it. And what I love about this book is as we go through each page, there's also these little mice that are working to get the fruit. And they're not the main characters of this book so far. All of the main text is about these elephants here. And as we flip the pages, it's fun to ask your students, what are these mice doing here that's different from the elephants? The elephants keep yelling, mine! And they keep trying all these different ways to try to get the fruit, and they are unsuccessful. But each page, the mice get closer and closer. The story continues as elephants 3 and 4 also decide to try to get the fruit, and they are unsuccessful. In fact, they all run into each other and have a big jumbled up mess. Meanwhile, the little mice, you can see that they have gotten the exotic fruit. And very happily, they just say, oh, excuse us, we have got our fruit together, this is ours. And then the elephants all kind of look at each other and they're like, wait, ours? They've all been saying mine, and they've been working individually. Then on the next page, you can see they start to say ours, ours, ours. And they take some notes from the mice and they work together to get the fruit. This story is a very simple but effective one about how sometimes putting our heads together and working together can be more beneficial for all of us instead of working independently. Again, it's a pretty quick, simple book, but it really hits the point home. Book number 3 I love for teaching about collaboration and teamwork is Eraser by Anna King. Now, this story is about a bunch of different school supplies. We have pencils, crayons, rulers, erasers, but eraser is starting to feel kind of left out. It feels like pencil and the crayons, they're getting all the credit, and it's starting to feel like no one is really valuing eraser's work. And she's starting to feel like, well, I'm kind of useless here. Why am I even here? She tries to create her own designs, but they all go away. And again, pencil and crayons and all them, they get all of the credit. So Eraser decides to just skedaddle and get on out of there where she is not welcome or valued. But as she leaves, she ends up in a trash can with a bunch of first drafts. And they tell her just how special she really is. Because without the eraser, the pencil isn't able to do their best work. When pencil makes a mistake, without eraser, what are they going to do? The eraser is the one that checks pencil's math tests and checks pencil's work when they're coloring and erases if they need help. All the first drafts really help Eraser see just how valuable she really is. So when she comes back, Pencil gives her a big apology and realizes, wait a second, we make a great team. And they call each other partner at the end. What I love about this story is not only does Pencil and some of the other school supplies realize the importance of Eraser, but Eraser realizes the value that she brings to the table too. She starts off the story by thinking she is just kind of like useless, right? She thinks, well, I'm trying to do these ideas and they're not going well, and everyone else is getting all the credit. No one needs me here. And many of your students and many adults have felt like that in the past, where they're trying their best, they're giving their ideas, and maybe no one's really listening or appreciating what they're doing. So she finds the value within herself, which is just a great lesson for all your students. And last but not least, book number 4 I love for teaching about collaboration is How the Crayons Saved the Rainbows. And this one is written by Monica Sweeney. This story is actually about the sun and the clouds and how they were best friends and they always worked together to, keep the earth warm and keep the gardens growing, and how the earth needs sunlight and rain to really work together. But one day, Sun and Cloud get in a huge fight, and they actually stop talking, and they don't want to be in the sky together anymore at all. And since they won't be in the sky together, it gets worse for everybody. There are no more rainbows, no flowers, no streams and cities because they won't work together. Everything goes to black and white. But then one day there's this tiny little box of crayons that is found in a classroom, and they still have their color. When they escape, they start to look around and they're like, wait a second, where's all the color? I only see black and white. And they saw that Sun and Cloud were arguing. And they said, wait a second, I miss all the colors. We need to work together to get these two friends to be friends again. Everybody needs rainbows. We all need colors. So they decided to work together and start drawing little rainbows all over the town. But Sun and Cloud didn't seem to notice. So they said, wait a sec, instead of drawing all these little ones, let's make our rainbows even bigger. So they drew a huge rainbow all across the town working together. It was the prettiest rainbow the town had ever seen. When they finally saw the rainbow, Sun and Cloud both looked at one another, and it made them both really happy. They decided, wait a second, remember how we used to work together all the time? And that is what would make these beautiful, colorful rainbows? They decided it's much better to be friends. So thankfully, the world started to get colorful again and rainbows appeared all over. The crayons had done it. Not only is this story just really cute in general, but it also talks about what it can be like to work on a team when two people are disagreeing, right? So again, it's not explicit like the little spot books where it talks about that and like what we can do, but here we kind of infer what it's like where these two really work together as a team to make the world a beautiful place, but when they're fighting, it can kind of be miserable for all of us. So the crayons in this story decide, how can we make this better? And they decide to make it better. We will show both sun and clouds the great work they can do when they aren't fighting and when they can, you know, collaborate. So that's why I love reading different books like the little spot one, which is again explicit in nature, and then these ones where there's just a theme of it, to kind of give students a bunch of different chances to talk about this important skill of collaboration and see it in different ways. All right, so there we have 4 of my favorite books for teaching all about teamwork and collaboration. I love all of these for a K-2 level, and I like how they kind of touch upon different parts of collaboration and teamwork. If you have another favorite book you love for this skill, please let me know down in the comments. I would love to check it out. And like I said earlier, these will all be linked in the description. They will be Amazon links just so you can see the title, the author, the price, etc. But you can get all that information and check if they have them at your library, either your local one or your school library. It's up to you, but you can find them anywhere. As always, I hope you enjoyed this video. If you did, please give it a thumbs up so I know. Make sure you are subscribed to my channel and click that bell. That way you're notified of every new video. See you in the next one. Bye.